Hello world, I'm Robin Catling and this is Write On. Join me in my author journey as I delve into the craft of writing, bringing you tools, tips and lessons learned the hard way so you don't have to. A solid 3-stage book plan. How do you define a solid 3-stage book plan without writing a single line of the novel? Abigail Perry presented her 3 stages of a solid book plan at this year's Perfect Your Process Summit. Stage 1. Basic idea. Perry's first stage is to develop the basic premise of the novel. Start with the logline and back cover blurb. The logline is a single paragraph, ideally a single sentence, describing the story. It should be ironic, present a compelling mental picture, acknowledge the target audience. IMDb uses this logline for the 2005 movie version of Pride and Prejudice, yes, collect a sticker, as its promotional logline. Sparks fly when spirited Elizabeth Bennet meets single, rich and proud Mr. Darcy, but Mr. Darcy reluctantly finds himself falling in love with a woman beneath his class. Can each overcome their own pride and prejudice? The back cover blurb is a short synopsis of character, plot and theme. This is a simple statement along the lines of status quo, but when, and now. It should include who are the protagonist and antagonist, the character and initial status quo, the catalyst, which is the but then, and the high stakes, which is and now. Single Elizabeth Bennet and her 4 equally single sisters face an uncertain future despite their desperate matchmaking mother. Their prospects brighten with the arrival of a rich single gentleman and his haughty friend Mr. Darcy. But sparks fly as Darcy and Elizabeth stand by their pride and prejudice. Meanwhile, the repellent Mr. Collins stakes his claim to the Bennet inheritance, and the youngest sister's behaviour threatens the whole family. Now Elizabeth has to choose between duty to her family and her own future happiness. Can she refuse the unwanted attentions of both Darcy and Mr. Collins, gain justice for the wronged Wickham, and somehow save the family from ruin? Perry advises no more than 3 paragraphs. A killer title. Perry puts some emphasis on coming up with that killer title, but only after you have the premise, logline and blurb worked out. Story check, story level. Next, Perry advises a story check. Clarify the wants or goals of both protagonist and antagonist. Clarify the core conflict between the characters. Identify the crisis and decision the characters must face. Identify the characters' internal arc. How do they move from their starting state to their ending state? Stage 2. 7 big picture scenes. Perry uses Blake Snyder's Save the Cat for her outlining tool, advocating for 7 key scenes to map out the story. 1. Opening image, our status quo. 2. Inciting incident, or catalyst. 3. Point of no return, a decision. 4. Midpoint, the mirror moment. 5. All is lost, the dark night of the soul. 6. Climax. 7. Final image, transformation, internal or external change. Next is to story check each of these main scenes to ensure they deliver the plot points and story developments in the right place. Stage 3. The whole idea. Perry suggests after the 7 key scenes, you should be able to fill the gaps between them with additional scenes. Perry adopts a common formula to determine how many you need. The typical 80 to 100,000 word novel contains scenes of around 2,000 to 2,500 words. Simple arithmetic dividing total word count by scene word count gives between 40 and 60 scenes for the whole project. Note that, like many writing coaches, Perry works in scenes, not chapters. Perry suggests plotting for a minimum of 40 scenes to make up the required length of the novel. Using a typical 3-act structure, this breaks down into Act 1, opening and status quo, 10 scenes. Act 2 to midpoint, 10 scenes. Act midpoint to end of Act 2, 10 scenes. Act 3 climax and resolution, 10 scenes. This may seem like a big workload, but in Perry's method for each scene, describe it in 1 to 2 sentences. Include or list separately character's want or goal, conflict, crisis point, internal arc of the character from the beginning to the end of the scene. Perry reminds us to assess cause and effect as we map out each scene. This is our story check for each scene. What happens? Plot. And why? Internal arc. We're looking for a trajectory of cause and effect, where the outcomes of one scene flow into the decisions or actions of the next linked scene. So I'll add cause, input, effect, outcome. Perry's whole approach comes down firmly on the side of the plotter or planner. If you're a free writer, feel free to take or leave as much of this as you want. That's all for this time. Thanks for stopping by. You can like and subscribe to the channel or go to robincatling.info to check out the blog.